Hello everybody, in this video we are going to talk about the two distinct fortunes that are being experienced by the startups right now in Indian ecosystem. On one end of the spectrum, companies like Paytm, Zomato are really creating a positive sentiment around themselves. Their stocks are also bouncing back. Zomato, for example, reported their profits for the very first time in 14 years. And Paytm losses have come down from 650 million in June 2022 to 350 million, almost a 45% decline by June 2023. So all in all, a positive story on one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum though, we see a lot of governance issues around Byjus. And these governance issues are not just stopping at all. And companies like Pharmeasy, their valuations have dropped by 90%. Can you imagine 90%? Now, why such difference in fortunes on both these sides? So let's start by looking at the positive side of the spectrum. The first thing that we need to understand is these companies are now listed in the share markets. And what does that mean? That more accountability. They need to be transparent. They need to share their financial statements. They need to share their business strategy out in the public. And this accountability and deep dive into their financial statements brings about a lot of positivity into the company and also a lot of caution. They just can't continue to grow crazily without understanding what is happening to their profitability. And this caution is setting these companies on the right path to a large extent. They are cutting down on initiatives such as Zomato's 10-minute delivery. We are not hearing about that anymore. Zomato also has reintroduced Zomato Gold the last quarter. And you can see the emphasis on the initiatives which are helping them make money. Paytm, for example, is now trying to make more money from its existing customers itself. They have started to charge customers for the mobile recharge as a platform fee. Just the customers who are used to this ecosystem will continue to pay this kind of money. Now, this is a good thing. However, they should not stop experimenting. They should not say that, hey, now we have figured out our 5 revenue streams and we will just continue with these 5 revenue streams, because that will be the death to these companies the minute they stop experimenting. So this is the fine balance that these companies hopefully will figure out along the way. Even big companies like Microsoft, they have business lines which continue to generate cash for them continuously. Microsoft Office. Whether you like it or not, you will anyways buy Microsoft Office. On the other end of the spectrum, they are going and pumping a lot of money in the OpenAI initiatives because they believe that would be the next lever through which they get a lot of money. So they are balancing out that revenue generating streams with the places where they can make more money. This is corporate strategy 101, maintaining that fine balance between growth and profitability. Now, what's happening on the other end of the spectrum? All these guys have always been about increasing their valuation so that one day when they go ahead and list themselves on the stock markets, they make a lot of money. The investors and the founders, because they'll sell their shares and they take that money and they go back. So the race is towards creating more value for themselves, the 3 to 10 guys who are currently making these decisions. And when they are making these decisions based on valuation, there is never an end to how much more they can capture. And that is the reason why there might be a lot of governance issues in that quest towards that growth. A simple example could be what happened with WeWork. WeWork, when they started to decide to go towards IPO, when their financial audits were being conducted, they realized that the CEO, the founder himself, was channeling the money for other business initiatives. So these kind of governance issues started to roll out when they decided about going into the IPO phase. So you can understand, because of that lack of transparency, nobody has real visibility into what is happening. And this visibility comes into the picture once they decide to get into the IPO. So we can understand why these governance issues might be popping out. Similarly, Byjus or Pharmeasy also have another set of issues to deal with. In the last 1 year, they got a lot of funding so that they continue to experience that crazy growth. However, because of that funding winter, now they are not getting that kind of money which can help them grow. So when they don't have that money, they need to show to their existing investors that they can continue to grow probably at a slower rate, but they can turn themselves profitable. Now that is the biggest concern, and they have to resort to a few unnecessary and few complicated things where the governance issues have started to pop up. And this is again corporate strategy 101. Can these companies continue to grow, or can these companies even overcome their governance issues and get ahead and list themselves in the public markets? Because that is where the true scrutiny will come into the picture, and then they need to start adding value to the shareholder. I hope on one end of the spectrum that Zomato's Paytms will continue to grow, will continue to experiment, and also will continue to make that money. And on the other end of the spectrum, these Byjus or Pharmeasys or any of the other startups will resolve their governance issues and then come into the public markets and add value to individual shareholders, potentially like you and me as well. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.